We all know water is life, right? I mean, our bodies, the planet, it's all about 70% water. It's the foundation of literally everything. But what if the very water you're drinking every single day isn't actually giving you life? What if it's slowly taking it away?
Yeah, that's a pretty heavy question. I get it. But this idea comes from ancient yogic science. It suggests that the way we handle, store, and even drink water today, well, it's completely stripped water of its life-giving properties. It's turned it from this amazing source of life into something that can actually create imbalance in our bodies.
You see, these ancient traditions didn't just see water as, H2O. They saw it as a conscious, living element. They knew secrets about it that we've kind of forgotten them in our rush for convenience. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to decode that ancient wisdom. We're going to learn how to turn our everyday water from a potential poison back into a life-giving nectar. You ready? Let's dive in. All right, so let's start with the absolute basics, the physical act of drinking. It turns out ancient wisdom tells us that how you drink your water is every bit as important as what you're drinking. So think about it. How many of us in our busy lives just grab a bottle and gulp down water while we're standing or walking around? I know I've done it. Well, according to yogic science, doing that is almost like an act of violence against your own body. Seriously. When you're standing, that water just rushes down with gravity, and it kind of slams against your stomach lining. Over time, that can lead to things like indigestion and acidity. And it's flowing so fast that your kidneys, your body's amazing filters, they just don't have time to do their job properly. This could even lead to kidney stones or infections down the line. And here's the kicker. It can disrupt the fluid balance in your joints, which might contribute to arthritis. But if you just sit down and sip slowly, you allow your body to process that water gently and effectively. And what's really fascinating is, this isn't just some abstract human idea. I mean, just think about it for a second. Have you ever seen an animal, a bird, a dog, a lion, gulping down water? No way. They all sip it slowly, instinctively. Ayurveda actually says that when we gulp, we're acting against our own nature. Plus, sipping allows your saliva, which is alkaline, to mix in with every mouthful, and that helps balance the acid in your stomach. This actually leads us to a really powerful morning ritual called ushapan. See, yogis believe that the saliva that builds up in your mouth overnight is basically a potent medicine. It's packed with healing and antibacterial properties. So, instead of spitting it all out when you brush your teeth, the practice of ushapan is to drink 2 or 3 glasses of water the moment you wake up. This way, all that valuable saliva goes right into your system, cleansing your gut and helping to heal your body from the inside out. Okay, so we've covered how to drink. But now, let's talk about the water itself. Yogic traditions make this really sharp distinction between what they call dead water and living water. And, well, chances are, most of us are drinking dead water. Just think about what we do to our water before we even drink it. Take reverse osmosis, or RO. We think of it as the gold standard of purity, right? But here's the problem. While it's stripping away all the bad stuff, it's also stripping away essential natural minerals like calcium and magnesium. So what you're left with is acidic, basically dead water that might even leach minerals from your bones. And then, oh boy, there's the plastic bottle. Modern science has now confirmed that tiny microplastics and all sorts of chemicals are leaching from that bottle right into the water you're about to drink. And one of the sketchiest chemicals found in plastic is a group called xenoestrogens. Now, these things actually mimic the female hormone estrogen. So when they get inside your body, they can totally disrupt your delicate hormonal systems. And this goes for both men and women. We're talking about contributing to problems all the way from PCOD to low testosterone. So the big question is, how do we get this living water? Well, the answer is to go back to tradition. Storing water in a copper vessel overnight, that naturally purifies it. Copper has this thing that modern science calls the oligodynamic effect, which is a fancy way of saying it kills harmful bacteria. But according to yogic belief, it also charges the water with positive energy. And then you have the humble clay pot, the matka. It might just be the world's best water filter. It cools the water naturally, makes it more alkaline, and even infuses it with minerals from the earth. Okay, so we've talked about the physical rules, the physical properties of water. But now we're going to get into something really profound. This is an idea that kind of bridges the physical with the metaphysical. We're talking about the memory of water. Yeah, you heard that right. This is a core teaching in yogic science. Water isn't just some inert substance. It's more like a recording medium. It's believed to absorb the vibrations, the thoughts, the emotions of everything around it. It literally remembers. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like pure mysticism. But this very idea was famously explored by a Japanese researcher, Dr. Masaru Emoto. And while it's true his experiments are considered pseudoscience by a lot of the mainstream scientific community, the images he produced have captivated millions because they seem to visually demonstrate this core yogic belief.
And his findings are just fascinating to look at. What Dr. Emoto did was he took bottles of water and exposed them to different kinds of energy. To one bottle, he directed words of hate, of anger. To another, he offered words of love, prayer, and gratitude. Then he froze droplets from each bottle and took photos of the crystals that formed. And the results were, wow. The water that got all that negative energy formed these ugly, broken, totally chaotic structures. But the water that received positive energy, it formed these breathtakingly beautiful, perfectly symmetrical hexagonal crystals. It's like the water physically changed its structure based on the intention that was sent to it. So let's bring this back to you. Think about that plastic bottle of water you might be drinking. It was probably bottled in some noisy factory, then it was transported in a truck stuck in stressful traffic, and it was handled by who knows how many people along the way. Now, what kind of energy, what kind of memory do you think that water's holding on to? The idea here is that when you drink it, you're not just drinking water, you're drinking all of that accumulated stress. Okay, so if water really does have a memory, and it can be imprinted with all this negative energy, the next logical question is, can we erase it? Can we change its memory? And according to yogic science, the answer is a big, resounding yes. And you know what the best part is? It doesn't require any special equipment. You don't need years of training. It's a really simple but powerful technique that anyone can do in just a few seconds. So here's how you do it. Before you take a drink, don't just mindlessly gulp it down. Just pause for a second. Hold the glass or the bottle with both of your hands. Really look at the water with focus, with intention. And for just a moment, try to feel genuine gratitude for this water that's about to sustain your life. Then, in your mind, you can say something simple like, "Thank you for giving me life. Become nectar for my body." This little act, it takes maybe 10 seconds. This act of conscious intention is said to completely change the molecular structure of the water. The positive energy from your hands, your eyes, your thoughts, it's all absorbed by the water. It basically overwrites any of that negative stuff it has stored. And just like that, you transform dead, stressed water back into living water. You create what yogis call chaturnimrit, a sacred offering. So, wow, we've gone through some pretty deep and fascinating ideas here, right? But how do we actually bring all this wisdom into our day-to-day lives? Well, it all boils down to a few simple but really powerful rules. All right, here's your takeaway checklist. Super simple. Number 1, always sit down to drink your water. No more drinking on the run. Number 2, ditch the plastic bottles. Make the switch to a traditional copper or a clay vessel. Number 3, just take those 10 seconds to charge your water with gratitude before you drink. And finally, number 4, try to avoid ice-cold water from the fridge because it can harm your digestion. Go for room temperature or that naturally cool water from a clay pot instead. When you really think about it, this ancient wisdom is reminding us of a pretty profound truth. What we put into our bodies has a direct impact on our minds. I mean, if the very stuff that makes up 70% of our being is impure, stressed out, or dead, how can we possibly expect our thoughts and our energy to be clear and vibrant? So the next time you reach for a glass of water, just pause. Remember that you have a choice. You can mindlessly drink a lifeless liquid, or you can consciously create a life-giving nectar. The power to turn one into the other is, quite literally, in your hands. So, what are you going to choose?